So you finally arrive in London and you've got no idea how cheap it really is, do you? Hi, my name is Bilal and you're watching the Successful YouTuber channel. Currently on this channel we're doing a 90-day challenge where I'm posting every single day for 90 days straight to find out, does consistency really help with becoming a successful YouTuber? Well, you'll find the answer to that on day 90, so keep following our channel. Well, you'll find the answer on day 90, but during these 90 days I am going to be uploading content sharing my learning journey with you. So of course, if I'm posting for 90 days straight, I'm going to be learning a lot of different things, and I am going to be going through a lot of different emotions and crises during this time, because let's be honest, being a full-time student, having a part-time job and creating daily content on YouTube, it's not that easy, is it? So today we're going to be talking about how life is in the UK. I've been here in the UK for about 8 months now, and trust me, a lot of people overhype the expenses over here. London is not nearly as cheap as they tell you it is if you know where to shop. During my past 6 to 8 months, I've learned a lot of different ways to save money. First of all, let's talk about the first thing, rent. Yes, that's the one thing about London that's not overhyped about how expensive it is. The apartments, the rent, it is really expensive. But if you go for Airbnb, it's way more expensive. So instead, I would suggest you, if you're coming here for at least a month or more, there must be some kind of offers available on Spare Room, SPAREROOM. So go to Spare Room, it's a free website. You can also download the free app and you can search for rooms for house sharing, etc. And that way you can live in somebody else's house, just like Airbnb, but it's just for a bit longer period relatively. And because it's a bit longer, that's why it is a bit cheaper as well. If you want to save money, you can live in a house share. But if you want to spend more, then of course you can rent a whole flat as well. It all depends on your budget. But if you're coming to the UK and if you'll be staying in London for at least a month, I would highly suggest you not to book any hotel rooms. They're extremely expensive. I can't emphasize enough how expensive they are as compared to these house sharing rooms, etc. And they're usually much bigger and much more welcoming because people are already living there. In house shares, currently the rent that I'm paying for a pretty large room compared to other rooms available in London, I'm paying about £830 a month for 2 people, and I don't think that's quite bad as compared to other rooms because it's my wife and I, so for both of us it's £830. But I will tell you this house is really big and quite luxurious, to be honest, comparing it to other London houses. The bath is really big, it has a very luxurious washroom. Considering all of that, I think £830 for 2 people is a pretty good deal. But how did I find that deal? Number 1, go to Spare Room, as I said earlier. Number 2, try not to be in the central areas of London. So London is divided into many zones. You may not know that earlier, but now you'll know. There must be a way to measure how much you'll have to pay on transport. So what the transport system did was it divided London into different zones, starting with Zone 1, which is the very central area of London, going all the way to Zone 5, Zone 6, and more outwards. So it's like Zone 1 is the minimal and the most central radius, and then you go towards bigger and bigger radii. Yeah, the further you go away, of course, the more you'll have to travel if you want to visit the whole city. So let's say you go towards the eastern zones or the northern zones or southern or western zones. So let's say you're going towards eastern zone, which I did in my case. What you're eventually going to get is a lot of South Asians in this area, and the good thing over here is you're going to get very cheap food because there are lots of South Asians here. For example, my wife and I just ate a buffet a month ago for about £30 for 2 people, and maybe it's too much for Pakistan or some other country, but for London especially, it's very, very cheap. £15 for a buffet per person. It's very cheap. Secondly, talking about the grocery, we'll come to travel and transport as well, but before that, let's talk about grocery. If you're in London and you don't want to eat outside, you want to do more groceries, I would definitely suggest you to go to Lidl. Lidl is the cheapest grocery store I have been to in the UK. I've been to Asda, I've been to Sainsbury, Tesco's, but trust me, nothing is as cheap as Lidl. Even when you are at Lidl, you've got different options and different price ranges. So a lot of the times, just because a brand is more popular, its price is going to be higher. For example, if you buy a Hershey's chocolate syrup, it's going to be definitely more expensive than a Lidl chocolate syrup. So try to go for Lidl products as much as possible because they are way cheaper. Just to give you an example, the brown eggs, the better quality ones from Lidl, I buy them 15 for £2. You can buy 2.2 litres of milk for like 1.5 to 1.8 pounds as well. You can buy cereals between 60 pence to £2. You can buy honey for about £1, which will go on for like a month. And you can buy 1 kg of butter for like £1.5 if you know where to look for. So in my experience, I found the cheapest butter in Iceland. It was £1.5. I found the cheapest milk at Sainsbury's as well as on Co-op. But it will be cheaper on Co-op if you have the membership. So Sainsbury is the best place to go to if you're really looking to squeeze your budget and every single penny counts. Then yeah, go to Sainsbury's for your milk, go to Lidl for your eggs and cheese. It's really cheap over there as well. For the rest of the stuff, I'm a South Asian, so I love parathas. So what I do is in East London, you have lots of places where you can find frozen Indian and Pakistani food. So there are a lot of places where you can find frozen parathas. So they're really tasty, really good. So I would definitely recommend that. That's the main grocery that you're gonna be going through. Eggs, milk, and the bread, you can buy it for 45 pence from Lidl and from Asda. The bread was the best in Asda as compared to price. So when I tell you it's 45 pence, it doesn't mean all the breads are 45 pence. So you'll have to look for it among the section. Of course, there are breads that cost you around £2 and £3 as well. It depends on the company and it depends on the quality and everything. But I'll tell you this, I've been eating the 45 pence bread and it's a decent quality, like it's not bad at all. I wouldn't say it's too good, but of course it's good. Also, you can buy fish, prawns, margarita pizzas, other pizzas at Lidl as well. And they are really good quality if you buy them in the frozen section, and they are very cheap. You can buy frozen chips and stuff. If you came to the UK just for a visit, then probably you won't need it. But if you're here for a longer period of time, like I was as a student, I would definitely suggest you to buy an air fryer. It saves a lot of time and a lot of hassle. So what you do is you buy frozen products like frozen chips, frozen chicken, frozen fish, frozen pizzas. You buy all those frozen products, and what you do is you just put those frozen products in the air fryer after you've defrosted them. It's the quickest way to make your meal and for the cheapest amount as well. If you're looking for air fryers, I bought mine on a sale from Iceland store, and Iceland store is also quite cheap. But yeah, for those of you who say Iceland is much cheaper than Lidl, what you're talking about, I've visited all these stores. So yeah, Lidl is definitely the best. My wife will say the same, definitely. But I would like to know about what you guys experienced. So we've talked about rent, we've talked about grocery. Let's go to number 3, which is transport. So you all know that the red London buses are very famous, and because they're double deckers, it's a very unique experience. Although it is a unique experience, but after a month or two you just get too used to it. It doesn't matter anymore. So if you're here for a long-term period, I'll tell you to buy a bicycle. Why? Let me break it down for you. The minimum cost of traveling in London is £1.5 per trip one way. 1.75 pounds per trip one way if you are taking a bus, and you can go anywhere within an hour. So you need to have a contactless card. It could be any card, it could be an international card as well. Oftentimes they work, but if they don't, you can buy an Oyster card from TfL. You can type in TfL UK or TfL London on your browser, and you'll find the website. You'll know how to create your own card just to tap in. You'll know how to top up, etc, etc. So you don't need to worry about that. But if you're planning a journey to London, I would definitely suggest you to buy a TfL card in advance so you don't have any travelling inconveniences. So as I was saying, on the bus it would cost you around £1.75 one way for any trip, as long as you're tapping in on a bus within an hour. So that's called a hop-up fare or something like that in London. What's that about is basically you go and tap in your card when you're on the bus, your time starts, and you can change as many buses as you want to, as long as those are the red London government buses. You can switch onto any other bus in your period of travel, as long as it's within an hour. You won't be charged extra for it. But if you tap in after an hour, that can be a problem. For example, I want to go to my work. So let's say I tap in at 7:30 a.m. I can change as many buses as I want to until 8:30 a.m. That means I cannot change a bus after 8:30. If I do, I'll be charged £1.75 more. But still, I can arrive at my journey even till 9:30. As long as I'm in the same bus. It doesn't matter how far you're going. What matters is where did you sit in the bus. When it comes to trains, the transport system is really good. The problem with buses is that if you're going to central London, there's going to be a lot of traffic, so it's going to stop again and again. But with trains, because they're underground, traffic doesn't matter to them. That's why that's the quickest way to roam around in central London. However, the trains will cost you a lot as well. Now, as I said earlier, London is divided into different zones. If you're living in zone 3, zone 4, for example, I'm living near zone 3, zone 4 as well, and it costs me a lot of money, like £10 to go to zone 1 and come back. So it may cost you £10 to £12 as well. That's a lot of money. That's why a lot of people believe that you should buy a house in central London if your job is in central London. But I don't agree with it, because in central London, your residency costs more than £2,000. That's too much, comparing £800 to £2,000 a month. There's a huge difference when most of the people are earning just between £1,500 to £2,500. I think that's too expensive, isn't it? So what you do in this scenario is basically you buy a bike. And by bike, I mean bicycle. To buy a bicycle, I would highly recommend you to go to Facebook Marketplace, try to search for road bikes or mountain bikes or whatever bikes you prefer, hybrid bikes, electric bikes as well. You can find those over there too. They'll be used, and you can search for used but in like a brand new condition. You can have that filter as well in your search, and you'll have lots of options. So a lot of people buy a new bike and they're going somewhere else. They don't have enough space at their place or anything. They want to sell their bike for a lower cost. So you'll find really good deals on Facebook Marketplace, and you can just contact them and visit their place, and if you like the bike, you can take it. Especially if you're a student over here and you know you're going to be here for at least a year, I would definitely suggest you to buy a bike, because on local transport you're going to be spending at least 70 to 80 pounds a month every single month, and that means for a whole year you're going to be spending at least £1,000, and that is if you don't go out for the weekends, if you don't go to zone 1, if you just stay in zone 2, zone 3, because traveling over there is much cheaper. So if you stay in those zones, yeah, that's going to be your cost. But if you go towards the central areas, you're going to have double the cost, like 1,500, 2,000. That's too much cost, isn't it? If you have got work in the central areas, or school or university in the central areas, I would highly recommend you to buy an e-bike or an e-scooter as well. You can buy such kind of things from the Facebook marketplace, and you can get directly in touch with the seller. They're usually just normal people like us. They don't have a store or something. So you'll be going to their house, you'll check if you like the bike, you just pay them, and the deal's done. This way you'll be saving at least 50 to 100 pounds every single month. You won't have to walk too much either. So there's another problem with the London transportation system that I didn't tell you about earlier. Although there are a lot of train stations and a lot of bus stops, but still in most cases you're gonna have to walk at least 15 to 20 minutes towards the station or the stop every single day. And then you get to the station, for example, and then where you get off from the station, then from there to work you're gonna need to walk again 10 to 20 minutes again. So it's gonna be like 30 to 40 minutes walk every single day. That's like the bare minimum. So when you're on cycle, you're gonna save up that time. And so if it takes you like 50 minutes on a bus to get somewhere, because it includes your walking time as well. If you travel the same journey on a bicycle, it's gonna take you like 20 to 30 minutes, which is much lesser, and also, not to mention, it's free. If you came to London and you're looking to save up a lot of money, then your best bet is buy a bike, go to Lidl, and try to use spare room for finding your rental apartment. If you're able to do all of that, I'm going to tell you, you're going to need just about 800 to 900 to find a decent bedroom for 2 people. And you're going to be using the kitchen as well. Also, I didn't mention all of the bills, the taxes, everything is included in this cost. So yeah, you don't have to worry that you'll have to pay for gas and electricity and taxes and whatever. And although some houses won't have a refrigerator or washing machine, etc. for you, but a lot of houses do as well. So for example, I'm living in a house that has a refrigerator, that has a washing machine, that has all the utensils and everything for us. Even they even gave us lunch boxes. Right now I'm spending like $830 for my rent, and then I'm spending about 150 to 200 for the 2 of us for our eating expenses for the whole month, approximately 150. And we are spending about 150 a month for our traveling expenses, which we're gonna cut down now because we're buying a bike. I'm looking for bikes right now, and I'm gonna record that journey a bit, and I'll share that with you hopefully tomorrow if I'm able to buy a bike by tomorrow. And if I do, well, I'll be guiding you step by step about how to buy a bike in London. That's it, guys. That was day 8 of the 90-day journey. Until next time, signing off. Take care. Bye bye.